Brand New Man, I think, and Next Broken Heart were our first two number ones. By the time that third single, Neon Moon, came out, if you're playing that stuff live...
Picture this. Thousands of fans packed into the Gainbridge Fieldhouse, their voices soaring to Brooks and Dunn's timeless hits. Then, in the heart of Boot Scootin' Boogie, Ronnie Dunn steps back, waves, and vanishes from the stage. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Is this the end for country music's greatest duo? Is Ronnie okay? For decades, their songs have carried us through road trips, heartbreaks, and celebrations. But that night, something shifted. Join us as we uncover the truth behind that shocking moment, the challenges no one saw coming, and what it means for the future of these legends. This isn't just a concert story. It's about heart, resilience, and a melody that refuses to fade. On a crisp spring evening in April 2025, the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis buzzed with electric anticipation. Thousands of fans filled every seat, their hearts racing for a night with Brooks and Dunn, the country music legends whose songs have soundtracked countless lives. The air was thick with nostalgia. Cowboy boots stomped, voices sang, and the promise of hits like Neon Moon hung heavy. But as the night reached its peak, something happened that left the crowd breathless, a moment that would ripple across social media and spark whispers of worry. What could make a legend like Ronnie Dunn walk away mid-song? The concert was a journey through time, each song a memory woven into the fabric of country music. Fans swayed to My Maria, their phones glowing in the dark, capturing every moment. Then came the encore, the part of the night where the energy soars. As the opening chords of Boot Scootin' Boogie rang out, the arena erupted. This was the anthem that defined a generation, the song that turned line dancing into a cultural phenomenon. But halfway through, Ronnie Dunn, the voice behind so many of those iconic notes, did something unthinkable. He stepped back from the mic, his face etched with exhaustion. With a subtle gesture to Kix Brooks and a wave to the crowd, he walked off stage. The music played on, but the air felt heavier. The crowd stood frozen, unsure if this was part of the show. Was Ronnie playing to the drama? But as Kix took over, his voice steady and strong, it became clear this was no act. Ronnie wasn't coming back. Within minutes, social media lit up with videos of the moment, shared by fans like radio host Matt Malone, who captioned his TikTok, "Feel better, Ronnie. Thanks for giving us all you could." Taste of country. Comments poured in, one fan noting, "He was hurting, you could see it," while another wrote, "Prayers for Ronnie, hope he's okay." The question on everyone's mind was simple but heavy. What was happening to Ronnie Dunn? To understand that night, we need to peel back the layers of Ronnie's recent struggles. Just a month earlier, in March 2025, he was hit with a brutal double diagnosis, COVID-19 and strep throat at the same time. For a singer whose voice is his lifeline, this was a nightmare. He was ordered to rest his voice completely for nearly 2 weeks, a torturous pause for someone who lives to perform. In a candid moment with Country Music Weekly, he admitted, "I'm still fighting some respiratory issues from COVID," saving country music. You could hear the frustration, the longing to be his unstoppable self, but his body wasn't ready to comply. And that's not the half of it. Rewind to December 2024, when Ronnie, ever the adventurer, was skiing at his Colorado vacation home. In a split second, he caught an edge on ice and tore his ACL, leading to major knee replacement surgery. His daughter shared on social media that he needed an 8-week break to recover. Taste of country. So when he stepped onto that Indianapolis stage, Ronnie was carrying the weight of not just a lingering respiratory battle, but a body still healing from a major operation. At 71, bouncing back isn't as simple as it once was. Yet Ronnie's grit shines through. Just 2 weeks before Indianapolis, he took the stage at Rodeo Houston, performing for a record-breaking crowd of over 71,000. He was still recovering, jokingly calling his illness Strovid, a mix of strep and COVID. "If you hear the wrong notes tonight, we'll blame it on that," he told the Texas crowd with a grin, indie star. That humor, that determination to push through, is what makes Ronnie Dunn a legend. But even legends have limits, and Indianapolis would test his. Fans who watched closely that night saw the signs early. During Rock My World, Little Country Girl, Ronnie sat on the stage risers, a rare move for a performer known for commanding the stage with boundless energy. His voice, usually a powerhouse, cracked on the high notes. He looked winded, one fan posted on X. You could tell he was struggling. Yet he kept going, pouring everything he had into the performance, unwilling to let his fans down. It was a testament to his heart, but also a reminder of his humanity. Then came the encore. As Boot Scootin' Boogie hit its stride, Ronnie reached his breaking point. After the first verse, he signaled to Kix, tapped his chest and shook his head as if to say, "I can't do this." With a wave to the crowd, he exited, leaving behind a stunned audience. It wasn't dramatic or flashy, just a quiet, heartbreaking moment of vulnerability from a man who spent decades as a pillar of strength, American songwriter. Kix Brooks, ever the professional, didn't flinch. He carried the song to its end, keeping the crowd engaged and the music alive. It was a moment that spoke to their 37-year partnership, a bond forged through countless highs and lows. "We've been through thick and thin together," Kix later shared in an interview. "When Ronnie needed to step away, I knew I had to keep the energy up for our fans." People. That seamless teamwork is why Brooks and Dunn remain unmatched in country music. The next day, a representative for the duo addressed the incident, stating, "Ronnie wasn't feeling well from being sick, but Saturday night's show went on as planned." American songwriter. True to his resilience, Ronnie was back on stage for their next performance in Chicago, proving that this was likely a temporary setback. But the moment lingered, sparking a wildfire of concern and speculation across the country music world. Fans flooded social media with support. "Get well soon, Ronnie, you're a legend," one wrote on X. Another posted, "Take care of yourself, your health comes first. Country living." The outpouring reflected the deep connection Brooks and Dunn have built with their audience over decades. From Brand New Man to Reboot 2, their music has been the soundtrack to road trips, heartbreaks, and celebrations. This moment of vulnerability only deepened that bond. But it also raised a question that hangs heavy. Is this a sign that Brooks and Dunn's time on the road is winding down? At 71, Ronnie has given everything to his craft. And with recent health challenges, some wonder if the duo's Neon Moon Tour, set to wrap in late April 2025, might be their last Brooks and Dunn tour. No official word confirms this, but the thought alone tugs at the heartstrings of fans who've grown up with their music. Brooks and Dunn's legacy is undeniable. With 20 #1 hits, 2 Grammys, and a 2019 Country Music Hall of Fame induction, they've shaped the genre like few others. Wikipedia. Their recent album, Reboot 2, released in November 2024, featured collaborations with artists like Lainey Wilson and Jelly Roll, proving they're still relevant, the Express Tribune. But health is a reality even legends can't ignore, and Ronnie's struggles remind us of that. The tale picks up where we left it, beneath the glow of 1,000 eager faces, the hum of a restless crowd swelling with nostalgia. Brooks and Dunn had just ignited the night, their timeless melodies weaving through the air like threads of a well-worn quilt. But as the encore swelled, a shadow crept over the stage. Ronnie Dunn, the soulful heartbeat of the duo, paused mid-note, his hand brushing the mic before he turned to Kix with a faint nod. With a quick wave to the sea of fans, he slipped into the wings, leaving behind a stunned silence that echoed louder than any chord. What had stolen him from the spotlight? Could the man who'd carried country music through decades be faltering? Away from the roaring crowds, Ronnie's world had been quietly unraveling. Early in 2025, a brutal double blow struck. COVID-19 teamed up with strep throat to wage war on his voice. For a singer whose every note once rang with unshakable power, this was a cruel twist. Doctors demanded silence, chaining his vocal cords to rest while his spirit chafed against the stillness. But fate wasn't done with him yet. A tumble on the slopes months prior had forced a knee replacement, layering physical agony atop his struggles. At 71, most would have buckled under such a load. But Ronnie? He's cut from tougher cloth, the kind that doesn't bend when the wind howls fiercest. Even so, how long can grit alone hold the line? Yet surrender isn't in Ronnie's vocabulary. He clung to the Reboot 2 tour like a lifeline, hobbling through physical therapy with a stubbornness that'd make a mule blush. Fans caught glimpses of the fight, The subtle lean on his right side, the way he gripped risers for balance, pouring every ounce of himself into each show. That golden voice, once a force of nature, now bore the scars of battle. Critics murmured about the shift, noting how his breath faltered on the soaring highs of Neon Moon. Undeterred, Ronnie retooled the songs, leaning on clever sound tweaks and backstage wizards to lighten the load. Night after night, he defied the odds, but at what cost to the legend we've cherished? Kix Brooks, his brother-in-arms through 30-plus years of triumphs and trials, stood witness to it all. Their bond, forged in dive bars and polished on the grandest stages, faced a new test. Kix felt every wince, every strained note, as if they were his own. "We're family," he'd said in hushed tones to the press, his loyalty a steady anchor amid the storm. On stage, he became Ronnie's unspoken shield, filling the gaps when breath ran short, their harmony a testament to a partnership that time couldn't erode. Together they pressed on, but the cracks were widening. How much longer could they carry the weight? Then came that night in Indianapolis, a moment that froze the world in its tracks. Ronnie's exit wasn't loud or frantic, just a quiet step back, a tap on his chest, and a vanish into the dark. The crowd stood breathless, hearts sinking as the reality hit. Within hours, the digital universe buzzed with worry and warmth. "Praying you're okay, Ronnie," one fan typed, fingers trembling with hope. Another gushed, "Indy was unreal. My first time seeing you. A dream come true. But you looked off at the end. Please heal fast." The outpouring was raw, a river of love spilling across platforms, hashtags like #RonnieStrong stitching a quilt of support. These weren't just fans, they were kin, bound by decades of shared anthems. What would they do if that voice faded for good? The ripple reached beyond the faithful, stirring whispers in Nashville's hallowed halls. Is Ronnie hiding something bigger? Could this spell the twilight for Brooks and Dunn? The industry buzzed with guesses, insiders pondering if these trials might nudge him toward quieter days, or the end of the road. Yet Ronnie stayed silent, no pleas for pity, just a man showing up with all he had left. That stoic grace only deepened the mystery, painting him as a warrior in a fray few could fathom. In an age of oversharing, his restraint was a quiet roar, daring us to wonder what drives a man to give so much when his body begs him to stop. The echo of Indianapolis rattled the roots of country music itself. Brooks and Dunn aren't just a duo, they're a cornerstone, their legacy etched in awards and anthems that shaped a generation. The thought of their stage going dark sent shudders through the scene. Would they pivot to studio shadows or mentor the next wave? For now, all eyes lingered on Ronnie's fight, the next move a riddle wrapped in hope. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the silence from the duo only thickened the tension. What lies ahead for these titans? The stage lights dim, but the echo of a legend's voice lingers. For a moment, the world stood still, hearts clenched in quiet dread as whispers of farewell swirled through the air. Was this the final curtain for Brooks and Dunn, the duo that had etched their names into the soul of country music? The question hung heavy, unanswered, until a voice of clarity cut through the haze. Ronnie Dunn, the man whose vocals had carried millions through life's highs and lows, had faced a storm, but it was not the end. His publicist's words were a balm to worried souls. The issue was respiratory, a fleeting shadow, not a tragic finale. The Reboot 2 tour, a testament to their enduring spirit, would march on, unbroken. Yet the road to this moment had been paved with trials. Ronnie, ever the quiet warrior, had weathered a tempest of health battles, each one a reminder that even legends are mortal. But surrender? That word didn't exist in his lexicon. With a resolve as steady as his baritone, he adapted. Behind the scenes, the tour transformed into a sanctuary of support. Set lists softened, harmonies deepened with backup voices, and the stage itself became a place of rest between the anthems. Ronnie's dedication never wavered, his love for the craft a river undammed by time. And Kix Brooks, his partner through decades of triumphs and tempests, stood as a silent guardian, their bond a melody of loyalty that no challenge could silence. The outpouring of love from fans was a symphony in itself. Social media, once a cacophony of rumors, became a chorus of hope. "Praying for you, Ronnie," one fan wrote, their words a digital embrace. Another, voice trembling with gratitude, shared, Indy was a dream come true, my first time seeing you, but you looked weary at the end. Please heal. The hashtags, #RonnieStrong, #BrooksandDunn forever, wove a tapestry of devotion, each post a thread binding artist and audience. It was more than concern. It was kinship, forged through years of shared anthems and memories. For Brooks and Dunn weren't just performers, they were the soundtrack to life's most tender moments. But beneath the surface, questions lingered. Could this be the twilight of their journey? The industry buzzed with speculation, insiders pondering if Ronnie's struggles signaled a quiet retreat. Yet, the duo's silence spoke volumes. No grand gestures, no tearful goodbyes, just a steady march forward, their boots still made for walking the stage. And then, the news broke. Brooks and Dunn had renewed their recording contract. At a time when most would seek solace in retirement, they chose the studio, the stage, the music. It was a defiant note in a world quick to assume the worst, a reminder that legends don't fade, they evolve. Their legacy, after all, was never just about the hits. From their 1991 debut, Brooks and Dunn had redefined country music, blending honky-tonk grit with a modern heartbeat. Songs like Boot Scootin' Boogie and My Maria weren't just chart toppers, they were cultural touchstones, their harmonies a blueprint for generations. And now, whispers of a new album, a tapestry of their journey, promised to add another chapter to their story. The future wasn't a question mark, it was a melody waiting to be sung. Beyond the spotlight, Ronnie Dunn's world was one of quiet opulence and purpose. His Tennessee ranch, a sprawling ode to his roots, housed a collection of vintage cars, each a relic of a bygone era, much like the man himself. A Patek Philippe graced his wrist, a subtle nod to his appreciation for timeless craftsmanship. His Cessna Citation, a sleek companion for his travels, whisked him between performances and philanthropic missions. Yet his true wealth lay not in these luxuries but in his legacy. His signature guitar line bridged the gap between icon and aspiring artist, while his investments, stakes in Nashville's culinary scene and a music publishing company, ensured his influence would echo long after the final encore. Ronnie's financial journey was a masterclass in harmony. His portfolio, a symphony of music royalties, real estate, and hospitality ventures, underscored the power of diversification. His insurance policies, safeguarding his voice and legacy, spoke to a foresight that had sustained his career through decades. But perhaps his greatest lesson was in giving back. His philanthropy a reminder that true wealth is measured not in dollars, but in the lives touched. His story was one of resilience, adaptability, and heart, a blueprint for navigating fame's fleeting spotlight. As the final notes of this chapter fade, one truth remains. Legends never truly say goodbye. They simply turn the page, leaving behind a melody that lingers in the soul. Brooks and Dunn's journey, marked by triumphs and trials, is far from over. The stage may dim, but their music, the heartbeat of a generation, will echo on. Brooks and Dunn's story is one of grit, heart, and unbreakable bonds, shining through Ronnie's health battles and their unwavering stage presence. The 2025 Neon Moon Tour and Reboot 2 album, packed with fresh collaborations, prove their timeless spark. Fans rallied with #RonnieStrong, their love a testament to decades of shared memories. Let's celebrate their legacy. Drop a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more epic tales. Next up, we've got another story of music and triumph waiting. Their songs have carried us through life's highs and lows, and as the lights dim, one truth echoes. Brooks and Dunn's melody will never fade, forever woven into the soul of country.